Please don't break it. Here's a little trick. Oh yeah. This is a shoulder and do it. We might have an issue. If we can do this without damaging it, our clutch disc can only go on one way. We got ourselves a clutch, boys. Welcome back to Freeman's Garage, the 1956 Chevy 210 Club Coupe. Two-door post is on the slate today. We are doing a flywheel, pressure plate, the whole clutch. Okay, the whole thing, not just part of the clutch, the whole clutch, and more. And we're not even gonna get to all these parts today, but let's get working on it. We don't need the assembly manual for the whole car. The very first thing we need to do here is pull the engine, which it's only halfway installed anyways, testing purposes. You've seen that in the previous video. But now, well, okay, let's not ruin anything. But we found out in that previous video that the oil pan will clear our steering. Or wait, did I tell you that or did I not tell you that? I think I told you that in a Freeman's Garage extra video, channel linked in the description, but stay here for now because you don't want to miss this. Our chain's already hooked up, so that'll save us time. Now we need to paint the oil pan. Show you what color in a second. You can probably already guess what color that's going to be. And then install the oil pan properly. Oh, it's heavy. You're probably noticing that the walls around Freeman's Garage are looking a little red barren. Well, that's because we are finally in the process of moving to a brand new Freeman's Garage location where we will have more indoor space than we could ever imagine and plenty of outdoor space to destroy everything that we fix indoors. Yes, we're building a test track at the new location. But enough of that for right now. Let's get this 56 Chevy closer to running and driving. Can't drive without a clutch, that's for sure. And we need to put some air in these flat tires. Gosh darn it. Brand new tires for the 56 Chevy will be here in just a few days, but darn it, would they be nice to have right now because these don't hold air for the longest time ever. It's race against time, car falls down, hoist gets stuck. Before we air the tires up, let's prep our hardware first. I think that would make sense, which there's not a lot to prep, so that's pretty easy. Let's do that. Do this. Unfortunately, because we don't have our new tires on yet, I don't mean to beat the same horse again, but it's going to add a little bit of frustration on to doing this. It's going to be a little bit annoying with the tires going flat 5 million times, making things take longer here, but that is okay. It's just it's the world we live in, and we're gonna deal with it. And yeah, and when the tires do arrive, I'm curious to see what your thoughts will be on them. They're actually not my dream tires, but they're pretty swanky. And you know, there's a lot of other things on this car that are not going to be 100% how I want it either, so it's fine. Can't always get what you want. Ow! The elbow! Oh, there's a 4-speed transmission in my way. Cannot wait to get that bolted in. Alright, that went smooth. Time to air the tires up. This is exciting. Even with the peacock feather, the Liberator 2, she's just not holding air for too long, but long enough to get the job done. I'm sure I'll have to keep bumping it up a little bit here and there, but we've got a little bit of weight off here. Got the engine picked up just a teeny tiny bit. I should be able to bang out this bolt. This one is kind of stuck. I don't really like all this mystery hardware falling off the car. A couple more wackaroos and we should be getting this engine out. We're gonna have to put more air in that tire though. We might go the pry bar route, I guess. Just for a nudge. Pants are falling down. I need to gain some weight. Okay, well, let's not stick our fingers in there. That's pretty dangerous. In just a second, we'll have this engine out and we'll do the pan and the clutch. Oh, wow. Yeah, and the engine hoist kind of lets itself down as well. But that's nothing new here at Freeman's garage. This is the world's easiest engine extraction. The engine's not even bolted in place. Okay, we're over the front mounts. I'm a little worried about swingage. Hold on one second. I feel as if the engine might want to kind of slip on the chain a bit because it's kind of tipping back a little too much. You know, and when we slide completely off these rear mounts, yeah, so just throw a nut and bolt on because I realize I probably should have kind of set up better. Okay, I think we're gonna be good. Perfect. All right. All right, as long as nothing breaks here, we should be good. Oh yeah, I can't wait to put fresh paint on this oil pan and not wait long enough for it to cure and then put it back in the car and scratch the oil pan on the front engine mounts. Oh. Excuse you. I was wondering what was holding up the engine hoist. Didn't notice we went down so fast again. Everything needs to go perfectly smooth in this video because, yeah, I don't have time for things not to go smooth. Trying to organize transporting 5 vehiculars plus a motorcycle. You know, everything's kind of has to stick to a time schedule. Wow, it rolls so much easier now that an entire car is not sitting on top of it. Okay, so let's lower it down a little bit. We'll keep it high enough so that we can work on it. Get the oil pan off, which there's only a few bolts in there, but we'll bring it down nice and low. Excuse me. Because if anything goes snappy, you know, the crankshaft will only take minimal damage. Knew I needed an extension. Think, McFly, think. Now, you may not agree with the method to my madness here. Our plan here is to be as fast as possible. So we're actually going to do the paint prep and painting on the engine. Just stick with me, don't worry. And it's for a couple of reasons. Reason number one, we don't have time to do a down the bare metal perfect paint job. Reason number two, the blast cabinet isn't here. I loaded up a trailer and moved a whole bunch of stuff. So the blast cabinet, well actually, come to think of it, I think possibly my sandpaper too. It's all up in the hills of East Oklahoma. So we'll get this oil pan off here, and we will get the gasket situated properly, etc. And get it bolted on the way it's supposed to be. The only reason why it was thrown on here haphazardly was because it was a test fit to make sure it would clear the steering. And it does, so that makes me think this is a passenger car pan, which I have a hard time believing that it is, but I guess maybe it is. I wiped the pan out real quick, made sure that was clean, wiped the gasket up, made sure that was clean as well. And then I just cleaned these right here. I've been jacking the hoist up a little bit every 60 seconds or so. Goes down pretty quick. One day we might upgrade her. Don't mean to beat a dead horse on that, but she's good for right now. I'm gonna lift her up a bit higher here. That way putting the oil pan on, getting it onto the studs isn't gonna be a big pain. Because trust me, it would be if I was trying to lay underneath it. So once we have this oil pan secured in place and fastened properly, that will keep debris from getting inside of our engine on the bottom half, which is what we need. I got all the hardware in on that side. Now I just need to get it in on the driver's side and snug it up. There is a little bit of a dilemma here that I'm not exactly quite sure what I'm going to do at the moment. Okay, we gotta tighten this up a little bit. One of the reasons why we're securing this oil pan as quickly as we can here and getting it done is because it could only be a matter of hours before I'm transporting this car to Oklahoma. Not 100% sure, there's a lot of things up in the air, but we want to make sure that this engine is sealed up good. No, we have to do it anyways so that we can fire this thing up and drive our 56 Chevy, right? If there wasn't a million things going on at once, we could decide what timing cover, what balancer. You see, the thing is to swap timing covers, you got to drop the pan, or at least take the front bolts out and lower the front of the pan. And we might want to switch timing covers. So on one hand, I don't want to put the oil pan on right now. But if we do switch timing covers, that might not happen before transportation. So it's a big confusing, oh gosh darn it. It's a big confusing mess, but the point is, about the timing cover, is I want to run this balancer right here that a viewer sent into Freeman's Garage, way of California. But to do that, we either need to ruin this timing cover or we put a different timing cover on so that we can use the timing marks that came with this. But we could just get an 8-inch balancer. We might have interference with our front engine mounts here. It looks like somebody has modified them in the past though for an 8-inch balancer. So I'm not sure. If I've confused you, believe me, I'm even more confused. But for right now, we kind of sort of don't even have time to order any more parts and wait for them. Let's paint this thing. Not gonna be the best job in the world. Already went over that, didn't I? Ad nauseum. But let's get the big chunks off and then we'll get the grease off. Or you know, actually it's not as dirty as it looks. If we had more time. But isn't that always the challenge? Time. What is time? Time is just something man created and put on us. Any guesses yet on what color the oil pan's gonna be? I think it should be pretty obvious. Huh. Concentrated industrial strength. That might be a little much. I think we'll just do soap and water. You know, I'm starting to realize that I think I packed up all my masking tape. Did I? Why would I do that? I know I'm gonna need it. Well, I guess I packed away my spray bottles. So we'll do brake parts cleaner, which I didn't really want to do because sometimes it just makes the paint that's here just slimy and goopy. Yeah, we might be good. Yeah, I just don't want to spray new paint onto old soft, chewy paint. I hope Kevin Tates does not see this. Is Kevin around these days? I don't think I've seen him since the DOS Bronco. That thing was awesome. It's clean, it's ready to go. It's actually not bad. Use some soap and hot water. That helped real good. Let's pull the bell housing off. That way we can paint a little bit better on the backside of the oil pan, which would have been cleaning easier, but you didn't say anything. You didn't say, hey Freeman, we're taking the bell housing off to install the flywheel and clutch anyways. You didn't say anything. Please don't break it. If you break it, I will be devastated. Although if we broke this little tab off out of our way, we could run a mini starter. Would definitely open up our starter options, which when we install our exhaust, I can't wait for you to see that. That's when we'll know exactly what starter we can run. Which is why we currently do not even have a starter, because we don't know what we can use yet. I think we're going to be able to use a factory style bolt to the bell housing type starter. Just depends on how our exhaust is. So we are going with Chevrolet orange, competition orange. And here's a little trick that would make Mr. Tates very proud. Or maybe he'd scoff at it. I don't know, haven't seen the guy in 20 years. Hope he's well. Really, legend. Legend in the paint space. So I'm going to use some grease, just some wheel bearing grease, and I'm going to dab it on to the timing cover because I do not want the timing cover to get orange paint on it. Not that I don't want the timing cover to be painted orange, but I can't decide what color I want the timing cover to be painted, or if this is even the timing cover that we're going to use. That's how indecisive I can be sometimes with this type of stuff. But we don't have time right now. So I'm just putting some grease on here because we're moving and all the masking tape has been packed up. So just putting the grease on here. And then we will spray our oil pan orange, and then we will wipe the grease with the overspray on it off, and then our timing cover should still be black and not orange. I know, but when you're the type of guy that will literally keep working on his project cars in the middle of moving to a different state, this is the way it is. My old man thinks that the valve covers should stay the color they are and everything else should be orange. Oh, I don't know if I heard him wrong or not, but I think he might have mentioned having the fan, oh, we'll have to talk about that later. Having the fan the same color as the valve covers. I don't know if I heard him right or not. But yeah, basically we have a brand new 17-inch 4-blade fan that actually I don't think we needed because I already had one, but guess we have a spare fan. Oh yeah. Just do a light cover coat to begin with. Make sure you paint as close as you can to a Harley Davidson. That's the only way to do it. While that cover coat is drying, not curing, just drying, let's take a look at the clutch stuff, start getting that ready for installation. Pretty sure it's in here. One challenge I have, I order all this stuff up thinking, yeah, bang, bang, boom, getting it all done. And then by the time I actually get around to opening the boxes, if I think that's a stinger. If anything if I got the wrong stuff or something, if a return needs to take place, it's too late. This is not high performance. This is all the budget-minded stuff here. Part numbers, etc. will be in the video description. This is a 168 tooth flywheel. Cast, as you can see. Gotta channel my Luferigno. Well, I recognize the part number on the box, so that's a good sign. And keep in mind, all of this is, well, not all of this, but the clutch components are all ordered with a casting number of 1409er3638 in mind, which is a 1987 to 1995 350 roller. This one happens to be a 4-bolt main. That is what I used when ordering all the clutch stuff. All right, pressure plate, our clutch disc, throwout bearing, need that. Put that on our Saginaw. Okay, so we have all of that. Our alignment tool, which in Freeman's garage we've aligned clutches without an alignment tool, but we'll use it. Line lubricant, here's a throwout bearing, which a user provided one came into the P.O. box. We'll try to use that one if we can. Non-asbestos. I guess that's okay. Oh, thank goodness. Flywheel bolts. Yeah, let's just stir up dust when we have wet paint. Now these bolts were on our engine when we got it. Wow, I almost just did this to zoom in on the flex plate that was bolted on to the back of this engine when we got it. That used to hang on the wall over there forever, but yeah, I ripped all that down and packed everything up. Flywheel bolts, they're a little bit shorter than flex plate bolts. And actually, you know what? Let's do an experiment. There we go, myth confirmed. But do we have the correct threads? Will they thread into the back of our crankshaft? They will. I know they will. Yeah, there we go, just confirmed. Cool. So, if you didn't know that, which a lot of people don't, you got to make sure you have the right flywheel bolts. You can make, you can make stuff from the hardware store work, whatever you want, but the point is the flywheel, a flywheel for a clutch for a manual transmission is thicker than a thin flex plate, which is what a torque converter bolts to for an automatic transmission. You're probably watching this and annoyed by me telling you that, or you're watching this saying, thank you, Freeman. Thank you for rambling. All right, I'm going to throw a final coat of Chevrolet orange onto our pan of oil. Somebody get Fido a bone. And then we'll install the clutch. Well, we'll let it tack up a little bit. We'll let this final coat tack up a little bit. So that way if we bump it, we won't. Yeah, we're not. You know what? I'm just going to paint the thing. I'm sick of yapping. All right, we ran out of actual real shop towels, so stole the last roll of 99-cent paper towels from the house. Yep, and now I just got them dirty. Great. Okay, let's install this clutch. And there is a controversy with this. We'll get to the controversy in a second. And how about this? At the end of the video, we'll see if the grease trick worked. I'm sure you probably are guessing that it worked. Okay, the very first thing we need to do is clean the grease, the oil off the face of this flywheel, off of our friction surface. This was shipped with oil on it to keep it from rusting. I appreciate that. Very nice of them. We're down to carbon choke cleaner, fresh out of brake cleaner. I'll line this up. And the controversial bit is almost here. Okay, that is going to work for us. And the hammer though. Gosh. Just be a man, stand up. Carry the weight, son. This would be the perfect time for this chain to break. Let's lower this down. Probably shouldn't be hanging out with my legs underneath this, you know, the waist down part of your body. Since this hoist is on the fritz. Saturday night's alright. Ooh, got a frame horror in the Bootius Maximus back here. Why do you watch this? Just think about it. I just said Bootius Maximus. Bootius Maximus. See, now everything just wants to line right up. Just gotta get my leg in the right spot. Might not even need the hammer on that. We gotta get down with the people. So wiping that oil off makes this a little bit more easy to hold. But of course you get it all oily again anyways. I don't know if you noticed this or not, but the engine mounts aren't here anymore. Yeah, I know I said we were in a hurry, but it's been bugging me for a long time. It had to be black. It couldn't be gray. That's what we needed to line up. Okay, here's the controversial bit. I told myself a while back that from now on, when I do flywheel or flex plate bolts, I'm thread locking it. But I don't have any blue thread lock here, which is what I would want to use for this. I have this red on hand, which is not just the ordinary red. This is a high temperature red that is designed that you need extreme temps to start chiseling it away. So we don't want to use that on this. And the thing is a lot of people anti-thread locker on these flywheel / flex plate bolts, because really you don't need it. Okay, the factory doesn't call for it, and in fact a lot of applications call for putting oil on the threads, which is the opposite of thread locker. If they're torqued properly, you should be good, but when you use a lot of old stuff, typically I'm working with engines that are 50 plus years old, and things are spinning 6,000 revolutions per minute, essentially right next to your leg. Yeah. And when things come apart, they cost money. So, well, yeah. We're not using thread locker here. We're gonna be good. Sure we are. Where's the torque wrench? You'll probably see me use thread locker on flywheel bolts on some other project. Look at this. Our brand new paint is sitting on the garage floor. I cleaned our brand new flywheel bolts and I took them out of the package, and the threads on our crankshaft actually have a little bit of oil in them, which means whoever put a flywheel on before this, or flex plate actually in this case, they did not use thread locker, they used oil. And so a little bit of oil is on here. So even though I clean these bolts, there's a little bit of oil on them now, so I think it kind of evens out in the middle somewhere. What do you think, Beetlejuice? Do this in a couple steps. Maybe go, I don't know, 35 foot-pounds, and then 65. Does it really matter? 35. Where is our... Oh, found it. And our engine's turning over on us. But we'll just tighten it up as much as we can. And the compression stroke lets us hit the third. I'm sorry. Stop. Stop. It's nice to know that your engine has compression. Okay, that's 35. Let's go to 65. 1965. Yes, please. Look around. It's a little bit tough, this one, but we'll get her. Just gotta put your shoulder and do it. 1 down, 5 to go. Oh, careful now. Don't strip that baby out. Ow. Look around. Uh-oh. Kind of goofed up the torque setting. Hope we didn't over torque that. No, we didn't. Okay. Got it. Now I'm sweating. Put that bell housing bolt there where I put the pry bar in. My back hurts. Who doesn't want a valve cover impression on their bicep? That will definitely be a ruse tomorrow. Okay, let's drop down to, well, we're gonna need 35 foot-pounds for the flex plate bolts, but why don't we start that off at a mere 25 pounds. It really doesn't matter with the flex plate, but we'll do that just to feel cool. Wipe our hands a little bit, get some of the grease off, and we'll clean off that flywheel one more time. And then we'll bolt the pressure plate back on. We'll use our alignment tool to align the disc in there. Oh, we got, pilot bushing. Can't forget that. And then bell housing will go back on. And then, well, we'll look at the 4-speed transmission when we get to that point. Well, let me set the torque wrench somewhere where it will fall. Oh. Want to knock it out of calibration. Hey, here's a good question. Do we have flex plate bolts? Did we order any? If we don't, we're going to have to dig through about 500 pounds of hardware because it's not organized because we're moving. Could I think of anything else to complain about? I'm sure I could, just give me time. Well, you might get to see some stuff you're technically not supposed to see yet. Not in here. This box was $133 though. Let me guess. This is one of those not so smart decisions I made where I'm looking at the hardware. I have it in my digital shopping cart. And I decide, no, delete it because I'll find the hardware on my own. And then here I am with not enough time to do this stuff. We don't have hardware. Could I think of anything else to complain about? Well, good thing this is not complicated. This is probably it right here. I wouldn't be surprised. Can you believe that? I just walked up to that box. That was the first thing I saw. So before we bolt the pressure plate onto the flywheel, let's insert that pilot bushing, and we have two options here. We got this roller bearing type that came with our brand new clutch. And then we've got this standard type that came from our viewer in California who sent in the other parts and the bags with orange tape, and it says, "Don't forget me." I think you know which one I'm going with. First off, I don't golf. I don't drive a Corvette. Heck, I don't even wear wingtip shoes. Save that for a rainy day. We might have an issue with this, we might not. We put this in with this bezeled end, if you will, or side, towards the transmission, towards our Saginaw 4-speed. That way we can stab her in easier. And, oh, hold on, let me tell you this real quick. I did take these pilot bushings, and I'm just rolling everywhere. I'm going to forget how to use my legs. And I stuck both of them onto our input shaft of our 4-speed, and it's going to be a nice, perfect fit. So let's go back over here. If the rolling's annoying, please let me know in the comments. I'll stop. Now, there's a light coating of surface rust in there. Very, very light. And I'm pretty sure all of our sandpaper is in Oklahoma. Sounds like there are people screaming outside. Let's hope they take it that way. I don't want to deal with that. That's why we're moving to the country. So let's clean off our bushing here. Now, on Freeman's garage here, you have seen me use a little light grease to drive these in, but I prefer not to because they really shouldn't be greased in my... God, gotta clean it again. They really shouldn't be greased, in my opinion, on the outside. But that's just me. Good thing we're not in California, or we'd have to worry about cancer. We use this hammer because it looks fun. Or, well, it is fun. I know it's fun. Now, if we're too tight and we get jammed up and can't back out, we're in huge trouble. And the hope is that it's going to be just right. Yeah, it should be just right. Okay, we're going in a little sideways. Straighten her out. Well, if you don't straighten out, it's not going to work. Okay, we're on the right path. I'm going to grab a 3/4 inch socket. Most commonly used impact socket here at Freeman's garage. If we can do this without damaging it, then we'll keep hitting it in this fashion. So I'm going to make sure that we don't change its shape or hit the crankshaft. Like I just did 10 times. We're almost in, Flynn. Just a little bit left to go, then we bolt the pressure plate on. Okay, if that were to go in any further, that would mean that we've ruined it. There we go. That is in. Ugh. I don't think it's getting any cleaner than that. Might want to come a little closer. It's getting good now. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. Our clutch disc can only go on one way. This is not a how-to. How-tos are not what I do. You see, we got these damper springs here. We got this big honker, this big schnoz hanging out. And then this side is flat to the disc. If we try to put the big honker side on the flywheel side, ain't gonna do it. But if we turn it this way, so we got the flat side. Oh, yes. All right, let's get this on. I'm gonna take the alignment tool. It's nice to have one of these on hand again. We're gonna stick this nub right on in. Right into our pilot bushing, just like that. There you go. Now that'll keep our disc from... that has a bad sound effect. It'll keep it from sliding out of place when we go to bolt our pressure plate on, which is right here. Well, when we go to tighten up our pressure plate, that is. The alignment tool will hold the clutch disc in place, which you're never going to get there if the engine keeps swinging. Swinging doors, a jukebox, and a bar stool. Oh, okay, well this is ridiculous. Just go to your home. Somebody walking their dog just heard me yell, "Go to your home." And I thought, oh my goodness, what's going on in there? Should I call the police? Alright, this thing's acting like a diva. Oh, you know what part of the problem is? Part of the problem is we don't have all the tools we need over here. Alright, let's try again, guy. I'm armed with a 3/8 ratchet. And no hardware now. Okay, hardware's back. Boy, this pressure plate sure is sharp on the edge. Guy could slice his hand. Probably fairly easy. Okay, let's go socket only. No ratchet. No fuss, no muss. We'll stop moving engine. You know, all these... Okay, well, we gotta do a little trick here. The bolt keeps sliding into the socket, so we're gonna put the bolt in. Okay. And then the second bolt is now going to sit right here. Okay. So now we should have max giddy up go. You know, maybe these bolts aren't long enough. Having a hard time getting them started with the washer and the thickness of the pressure plate and the clutch disc. Oh, I think we got one going now, do we? No, we don't. Okay, well, maybe I made a mistake on the hardware. Hold on. Okay, same size bolt, different length. See if we can get this started. Get us going here, you know. Next thing you know, dragnet's gonna be over. Oh wow, you know what? I think we were way too short on those bolts. So this flywheel's taking just took that whole entire bolt, just ate it up. Back it off a little bit, give us some room here. Huh, I'm sure later when I think about why I grabbed such shorter bolts and thought they would work for this, I'll realize, yeah, when are they ever that short? Got a whole bag of these longer ones. Entertaining, right? This is good stuff. There. The clunk of satisfaction. Okay, I'm gonna run, oh, gotta put a washer on that one. I'm gonna run these in and then we'll torque them. You know, fast forward a little bit. Okay, that's 6 bolts, 35 foot-pounds. Didn't need to torque that. You just kind of crank this stuff down, but that was kind of fun, just to do it. Remember kids, do not stow your torque wrench with tension on the spring. It's all about that calibration. Oh, you little... No, better not do that. I'm gonna go right into that. Come on out, bean sprout. Ooh, a little suction in there. We got a good pilot bush in. Thank you, sir, from California. We got ourselves a clutch, boys. All right, bell housing. Oh, well, I guess this is the point where we talk about the transmission real quick. Well, here is our Saginaw 4-speed. We're going to bolt the bell housing back onto the engine block, and I would love to take our clutch fork and our throwout bearing and set all that up, install our transmission onto the bell housing, and drop the whole circus in here and have our transmission mounted. But I've kind of, there's not time for that right now. It's more prep to get the car set up so that we can transport it. And part of the reason why there's just not enough time is because I realize that I want to do gaskets and seals on the Saginaw, clean it up, paint it, the whole 9 yards, which is going to be definitely worth it. And I'm not 100% sure on exactly how the shift linkage is going to work out. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that yet. But for transportation, I will crawl under the car and just hoist it up to the bell housing and throw some bolts in, just so that it's easy for transport and doesn't take up any space anywhere else. But having this clutch done, fully installed, and our oil pan painted and sealed properly, that's 2 big things that needed to get done for this whole situation. I think the wind just blew all our freshly painted engine mount pieces all over the place. Hopefully they were dry. Okay, false alarm. They're good. All right, let's get this big heavy cast iron bell housing back on. And we need to find, well, we're gonna have to add some washers to this hardware. But we'll just get a bolt in or two just to get it started and get us up here. It's all about just getting started, man. Just gotta get the party started. How's that song go? Don't matter where you're going. It's a George Harrison song. How's it go? I'm a little confused on the bell housing, the engine block hardware. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts in. These all came from our viewer from California. And then these are decades old knurled washers out of my family heirloom hardware, which is all in Oklahoma. Could use some of that right now because we need one more bolt here, which is longer than these. Okay, it goes into here. And then we need another longer bolt to go here. Now I have these, and then there's also the hardware from a video or so ago with this car where we measured everything out and figured out how to build a set of brand new bell housing hardware for this application here, which I think might be this here, which I found laying around. It's been a while, but we're gonna try these bolts on the side here and see what happens. So hopefully these are proper length. It'd be really neat if these were the same style bolts as these, but beggars can't be choosers. And I want to get all this bell housing hardware now because when the engine's installed in the car, I'm not sure if we'd be able to even get bell housing bolts out. Some things are a little tight against the firewall in these cars, believe it or not. Even though the engine compartment just dwarfs a V8 and makes it look teeny tiny. Makes it look like a little toy. One thing, for example, is, ooh, I haven't even told you what type of ignition we're gonna run in this car. I don't know if I want to tell you yet, kind of keep that a surprise. And we gotta keep you coming back to the garage, right? Keep you hanging around. But what I will say is that our distributor, which goes right here in the back of the engine, might not clear the firewall. We'll find out. The ignition that we're using, or the type of distributor that we're using, did not exist in 1956. And if we deal with fitment issues on that, that's going to be a lot of fun because it's a common thing you run into with these cars and putting a different ignition system in them, and there's some neat things that you can do to get yourself some more room. So I'm actually hoping the distributor does not fit so that we can do some of these things. Hoping for problems. Oh, let's drop the engine in this car. Boy, we sure made a mess in here, didn't we? After you leave tonight, I'm gonna have to clean all this up before I go in. Well, unless you stay and help, but then you're probably gonna be, you're probably gonna catch HE double hockey sticks by the time you get home. Well, that was frustrating and took forever. I'm done doing it this way, man. The hoist dropping, the tire dropping. Yeah, it was a complete disaster and it took a long time, and I think I scratched pretty much everything up. I need to finally improve on the hoist, and shouldn't have been doing this with these tires, but yada yada yada. Probably gave the same excuse 5 times in this video. But yeah, there's no way that we are going to get enough classics back on the road to outnumber the modern jobs at this pace. We gotta improve our productivity. I'll show you something here in a second. These front mounts, there's these little lips here on these cups. You want to make sure that you're actually got the little lip inside the hole here, which we do on these. All right, let's do the grease check. Look at that. Genius. Well, we could have done a bit more, but the whole hoist, yeah, this took way longer than expected. So next time with the 56 Chevy, we're gonna dig more into these boxes, get some more stuff done, preparing it to transport it to the new Freeman's Garage location, where, I'm sinking in this tire, where we will finally be driving the car. And, ooh, we gotta get the sheet metal bolted on the front of this car. The hood and all. We got the hardware to do it. Okay, quick question. If you bought a gas station burrito at noon and at 11 o'clock you found it sitting on the kitchen counter, would you eat it?